Are y'all in for a show today? The Ladies' Choice Eurovision live stream is back and we got to get into it, okay?
Eurovision 2024. I got a new video. Elise in the show. Hey girl. I'm ready to go. How you feeling? Eurovision fam. Are you ready for the show? We gotta keep it real. Let's go.
We will continue to keep it real today. Welcome to the Ladies' Choice live stream. I am not alone and I am so excited. And so I'm going to kick off and introduce y'all and bring to the stage Eurovision Faith. Tell the people about yourself. Where can people find you on the internet?
So my @ is Eurovision Faith on Twitter. I'm big on that on X, sorry. And I've also started to kind of make more YouTube videos on Eurovision Faith. I recently did a UMK vlog because I went to UMK this year and it was amazing. So yeah, you can find me on both those platforms.
I love it. I love it. Welcome to the stage. And I am bringing up one of my favorite Irish people in the world. All right, Louise, tell the people where they can find you online. Intro yourself.
What an honor coming from one of my favorite Americans. Thank you, Alicia. My name is Lou. You can find me Irlande Lupa on Twitter and Instagram, and you can mostly find me over at Eurovision Podcast all over social media. We're an Irish-based Eurovision podcast.
And y'all are killing it over in Ireland. The Irish Renaissance at Eurovision is coming, y'all. You're not ready for it. You're not ready for it. It's coming. It's coming. And bringing back fan favorite from last year, it's Tara. Thank you for joining us. Tell people where they can find you on the internet. And I think you should tell people like what your day job is too and where you're based.
Okay, so hey everybody. I am clearly an American, if you can tell by the accent. I'm from Detroit and I'm an English high school teacher. I teach high school 11th grade English. You can find me. I'm at TaraBrook __ on Twitter and Instagram.
Well, thank you for joining. And I mean, people are here in the chat. They're shouting everyone out. Everyone is ready for us to get into this. And today is going to be really exciting because we're talking about semifinal 1. We're kicking off the show, right? And so before we kind of go, in order of like what we're planning on covering, I got to ask, do you have a favorite song in the semi? So I'm going to kick off with you, Louise. What's your favorite song in semifinal 1?
Interestingly, I have 2 favorites, which I'm flip-flopping between. One is an automatic qualifier and one is a semi-finalist. So I might start with the semi-finalist. And I don't know if this will surprise people because this has really grown on me, but I am loving Australia. I absolutely love Australia. It's like just slid right up into my top 5. That didgeridoo part, I'm living for that. I think this just offers something really, really different. And that's always something I want to reward in this contest. Even if they put it on the stage and it doesn't fully connect, I'm here for it. I'm really curious to see what they're going to do with it. I also feel like Electric Fields as an artist really came out of the woodwork and surprised us in Australia Decides back in the day. I don't think people expected them to really show up in the way that they did. I think they're performers. So I see this potentially popping off. And I know people were complaining about the video, that it was low budget, but like save those coins, put it into the staging. That's what matters at the end of the day. Of course, I'm also loving Sweden. I think, I just can't resist the twins and their charm. It's just so slick. I think maybe being in the arena in Stockholm as well has also brainwashed me in a sense and into how slick and polished and good it is. But I just know when I watch Sweden, I'm going to enjoy it and they're going to perform their socks off. So they are my 2 standouts in semi-final 1.
I love to hear it. Okay, I'm going to move on to you, Eurovision Faith. What's your favorite track from semi-final 1?
Doomsday Blue, Ireland. The second I heard that song, I heard a leak of it. The second I heard it, I was in love. It's very me. It's something it's something I'd listen to regularly. It's very faith coded, and I just love that Ireland just went for something completely different and a massive risk, but I think it's a good risk and I think it will pay off. And Bambi's an amazing performer, and I am really, really excited. I'm really excited for everyone who's Irish, because I would love to have Bambi as a representative. I think they're so cool. And yeah, and I've noticed a lot of Irish locals are really getting behind them. Like, I think they recognize that they needed to do something different. So even if it's not their taste, they still really love it.
Okay, Tara, all eyes on you. Come on.
Yes. Okay, so this has been it's been in my top 2 since it debuted. I love Slovenia. I love Slovenia. It's so unique to me, but it's got like edge to it. It's got edge and it's got impact. And it sticks with me. It's not a grower. And we've had it for a long time, right? Like, we've had it for a decent amount of time, and I still don't skip it. Like, there's some that we've had. I will say, like, I loved Ireland's for so long because we got it so early, but I skip over it now. Like, I don't really listen to it anymore. But Slovenia is like, not only do I still listen to it, I turn that shit up. Like, I love it.
Okay. So we're starting from our top, and everyone in the chat is sort of sharing. And I think some people like agree with us. I don't know if I could really. I'm gonna waffle because I don't know if I can pick a favorite from semifinal one. Like, if I'm being real, but I mean, like, Serbia's. It's so funny for me. It was a grower. It was not an immediate thing for me. And it's like, sometimes when I don't want to say I avoid the song sometimes, but sometimes I want to intentionally listen to things that I have not listened to a lot. And so when I I should say, take a break from it, I'm like, okay. And then the minute I put it back on, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's right. Like, I love this song so much. So that's sort of the world I'm living in. But I think I kick off my Eurovision faves playlist with Australia's track. That is my kickoff when I'm hopping into it. It just puts me in the right mood. Okay, so my next question is, who do you think will definitely not qualify? I'm not saying shock or anything, but who do you think from semifinal 1 are you like, it ain't making it through? And if I'm gonna put my money on any of these that I feel, I hate to say confident about, but that I'm like, I feel confident won't make it through, I'm living in an Iceland world. And at one point, I kind of was like, no, the nostalgia could pull people in. But I just feel like if you're looking for that sort of unifying anthemic track, I mean, come on, like, we're going with Australia. Like, we don't necessarily need Iceland's anthemic track, even though I think Hera looks amazing and sounds amazing. And I think the execution is absolutely perfect for it. I have no notes for the execution. Okay, Faith, you look like you might have an answer. All right. What is your money on?
I agree with Iceland, also because they kind of got buried in the running order. They're right after Croatia, like one of the big favorites this year. And it just doesn't do anything. Those sorts of songs that don't usually qualify unless they have impeccable staging, which Iceland can be a bit hit or miss with the staging. So I'm not confident. I think the only other country I'd say is maybe Azerbaijan, just because I think just this semi is just so high energy. I just think it will kind of get lost a bit, especially because it's between Sweden and Australia. So I think Azerbaijan as well.
Okay, Louise, Tara.
I mean, yeah, I feel like we're all just gonna agree on Iceland, right? Like, are we? But it's not even a bad song. That, like, I'm looking through this semifinal, I'm like, show me a bad song. Honestly, show me like an actual bad entry.
Well, hold on. I could tell you a bad song.
Okay, tell me a bad song. Come on.
I have to come clean?
Yeah.
Oh, wait, yeah. What is it? I'm coming clean. Finland, come on.
Okay.
No rules. I mean, like, are we really bumping it in a car?
No.
Are we bumping it?
Yes.
I haven't listened to it since the first time I listened to it.
Yeah. I mean, even on the UMK playlist, I wasn't featuring it. I'll tell you though. Kurima, kurima. Sorry, I'm still on it. Call me bitter. It's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, those two I think are the, so we said, yeah, the Finland and Iceland. Yeah.
I have two others to throw into the mix. I would not fancy being Poland, coming in between the Ukraine and baby lasagna sandwich. And it's also like being preceded by Look Telk, Doomsday Blue, Ollie Alexander. Like, that's a top heavy first half. And I think Luna's struggling a little bit with that song live. And I actually really like the song. It's in my top 10 and I've been streaming it. So I'm willing her to do it well live, but I'm afraid that terror might just come tumbling down when it hits the Malmo stage. And I think there was nearly nowhere you could put her in that first half that isn't putting her at a disadvantage. I think it would have been better for Poland to have been in the second half, but there's a good point made there about Poland's allies in the semi. That does always help in terms of televote pull. I also think poor old Moldova. Finland is going to steal a lot of attention, and Sweden then following and just taking all of the thunder. I don't think it's looking too good for Moldova either.
Yeah, I want to piggyback, Lou, on the idea of Poland, because I will say just starting this week, like I really wasn't thinking this before. I just had Poland as like a lock qualifier, and like starting this week, I started thinking about the running order really not being optimal. And I think, yes, look, Poland has missed out before. They have. Like, it's not like it's impossible for them to not qualify. And I do just wonder if because some people talk about Blanca, but we have to give Blanca credit. The execution was great. What I am worried for this year is the execution going to be great? I'm beginning to get worried that with all of the slick that is going to be happening in that first half of the semi, not to mention the latter half of it, I don't think it's crazy to be concerned. That's all I'd say. I don't think
it's not a nice song to sing live.
Yeah, because it's not that rousing. Like, I don't know if people are really going to be, booming, whereas some countries and their songs, the compositions lend themselves to having sort of, I call it like the fourth element being the audience sort of participation. Like Gustav had that.
Brinton Tagidim is going to have that.
It's going to have it. Yeah. Okay. So then my other, so who do you fear won't qualify that you want to champion? And so this is your chance to make a plea, to tell people, okay, I'm going to kick off with you, Faith. Who do you fear won't qualify that you want to champion?
Portugal. I hate to say it. I think there's a good chance they will, but I'm scared because those kinds of ballads can be kind of hit or miss with people. Like, it's very hit or miss whether they qualify or not. I love Portugal. I love it. I think they did do well running order wise. I think they are quite good, but I think just because the semi-final so stacked and high energy, I think they really have to do something to stand out. But I do believe in Yolanda. I really do. I just a bit scared because I wouldn't put a bet on it to qualify. It's kind of on the fence for me.
Okay, Louise, then Tara.
I have to agree with Faith. It's also Portugal. I see a world where Portugal edges in. I don't think it's impossible, just with it being a televote only semi, and with Portugal being something that maybe needs to be understood from a certain perspective, a certain artistic perspective. I worry that on like first view, not all viewers will grasp that. And even just like statistically in terms of the numbers and the votes, I don't feel Portugal is as well backed as it has been in other years. We don't have Spain in the semi, just those couple of friendly votes. And there are countries in this semi who will soak up friendly votes, like your Lithuania, your Poland, your Serbia, Croatia, you know, there's kind of some natural back and forth that can happen in there, and the likes of Portugal could get forgotten. I hope Ireland does not fall into that camp as well. We need to qualify. It's been so long, but if we don't qualify this year, I will be dismayed. So yes, Portugal, following on from what Faith has said.
I really do like Portugal. I agree with you guys. Like, I do want it to make it, but if it's direct competition, do we think it's direct competition with Serbia? Like, do we think like, oh, it's like a female-led ballot and only one is going to make it through, or do we think both can make it through?
I will tell you, I don't feel I need to champion Serbia or Portugal, even though Serbia, I do think the running order is non-optimal. I would not have placed Serbia there. I'm just living in a world at this point, and let it be a world of delusion. I'm okay with that. But I'm living in the world of delusion. We get both of them. And so for me, my champion is Ireland, because it's like, it just has to make it through. Like, and I hate to say, like, Portugal could take the blow, even though I want to see Yolanda make it through. Portugal could take the blow because they're going to be good. Like, their system is fine.
Yeah.
Ireland's system, it's you know, we gotta make sure that we gotta make sure that we're still on this good path. So to me, I'm like, if anyone really needs that life jacket, I'm throwing it to Bambi to ensure the survival. I think Portugal, but again, I am living in a world maybe of delusion that I think we are going to get both Portugal and Serbia.
I would hope so. I think I would throw my life jacket to Ireland as well, just because I think it's going to be such a polarizing track. People are absolutely going to hate it, but then there's going to be the people who are so intrigued by it and so just want to see it again. They want to see it, you know, in the final. I feel like, yeah, it's so polarizing. Whereas I don't see people really disliking Serbia or Portugal. People are going to dislike Ireland. They just are. There's going to be, and I love rock, so I'm not one of those people, right? But there just are going to be people who hate it. So I would throw them that extra little life support.
Okay, y'all. So we know that we're going to be having, game changer at Eurovision. We're going to be having some of the, you know, the qualifying six performing, you know, split through the semifinals. What showcase are you most looking forward to in this semi? I will just kick off and say, for me, it's the UK. I just really want to see how that materializes on the stage. I think the song is sadly slept on by some and unfairly discounted. So yeah, for me, it's the UK, but what are y'all feeling?
I agree. Especially as someone from the UK. Because some of my friends have seen Ollie on tour, and I believe he's using the same creative team, and it's very good. Like, his staging is usually very, very creative, and I think he said in an interview that his staging isn't going to be influenced by the music video, because I think everyone was expecting like, oh, he might have like a turntable or something, but he kind of hinted that he's not doing that. And I think he said it's inspired by Vertigo. So me and my friends were trying to work out, is it the film Vertigo or like just the feeling of Vertigo? But I think they're going to pull on a show, and I agree with you, it's being slept on. I think it's mostly British people that don't like it, because when I've seen international reactions, they really respond to it because it is a very, very good pop song, and I think juries will really like it as well. But yeah, out of the three, obviously we kind of know what Sweden's staging looks like. I mean, they might change it up, but Dizzy, we don't really know, and I think that's so exciting, and I think they're going to go all out for it. Yeah.
I've been an Ollie Alexander fan for many years. Like way back when it was originally Years and Years, King, those kind of singles. And I've seen Ollie live, and the show is just a spectacle. He played Pride here in Dublin about 2 years ago, and there was a London red phone box, and he jumped out of it at the beginning. And it was a pretty small stage we were in, but like, he made it work. And I think he makes it work wherever he goes. He's got the budget. He's got the team. Also, let's remember, he is a long-time Eurovision fan. So he isn't really someone who's bringing this that he has an idea of what Eurovision is. He knows what it is, and he's going to have the backing for it. I totally agree. It's being slept on. And I don't know, is it just because of his stature and his reputation? I don't know what everybody was expecting. When I heard this was like the perfect sequel to Sweet Talker, his big single about 18 months ago, which I loved. So this is like direct, straight Ollie Alexander, what I was expecting. And as Faith said, we have an idea with Sweden, and also to an extent with Germany, of what they're going to present. So I think the UK is going to be the big mystery up until the rehearsals.
I'm very excited for the UK. The UK for me is like such a dynamic track. Like honestly, first listen, wasn't really into it. It did grow on me, but it didn't take a long time. I'm really excited to see, you know, how they stage it and everything like that, because we've only seen the music video so far. I'm not super familiar with Ollie Alexander. He's just not somebody who's been in my Spotify roster over the years. So I really enjoy it. Like I love pop, you know, as much as I love rock, I love pop too. So I'm really excited to see him. I'm excited to see what Germany, you know, how that performs on stage, because Germany for me is a polarizing track where I land on the side of loving it. I like Germany's track a lot, so I'm excited to see how they're going to bring it to the stage, because I've only seen the music video. I don't watch national finals. So same with Ollie. I've only seen the music video, so I'm interested in seeing both of those acts just to see how they bring them to life.
All right, so and just for folks to know, we were talking about, you know, the qualifying six. So it's the UK, Sweden, and Germany that are going to be showcased in semifinal 1. Do we think, and this is a question, do we think that these 3 performances could directly hurt any of the performances we've got in semifinal 1? I know we kind of touched on, you know, maybe the UK, the slickness of that stage show and how the performance might be. We also got Lithuania, Look Tell. Do we feel like that could hurt some of the other performers? I know, Lou, you mentioned Poland possibly being hurt a little bit with that running order and whatnot. What do y'all think?
I think, as I mentioned before, I think Azerbaijan could be hurt by Sweden. Big spectacle. And I feel like with the kind of song that Azerbaijan have, it's very low key. And it's, even though like a lot of people do like a kind of ballad, like, well, I don't know if I call it ballad, but a lot of people do like that kind of music. I think it's just going to get lost. I think it's a big spectacle, Sweden's. It's quite impressive. And I just think any kind of slower song next to it is going to suffer.
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know if anyone's going to be hurt by those 3. I don't see any of those 3 as direct competition to anything else in this semifinal. Whereas like how before we mentioned like maybe like Serbia and Portugal are like direct competition. I don't see any of these 3 being directly compared to anything else on this semifinals roster. So I guess I would say no. I don't think so.
Okay. Well, let's do kind of go through and do a little overview of what we're going to have on the stage. So we're kicking off the show with Cyprus. I just want to know, y'all think Cyprus is going to make it?
That's such a weird opener. I don't understand.
Is it weird?
Why? Why?
It's predictable.
I thought it was predictable. Yeah. I mean, it was in the running.
Got 3 pop girls in a row. Couldn't they have shook it up a bit?
I don't think it's strong enough, to be honest. Like, I would have put Look Telk in there, or even Rim Tim Taggy Dim.
Yeah.
Like, get people going. I just don't know if Liar is going to get the crowd going. I mean,
and she's a 17-year-old girl. Like, I feel bad.
I know. I have like pop girly dance break fatigue. I just don't want any more of the girls throwing themselves on the floor. They're very talented, but like I would rather just have something different. That's how I feel about the opener.
Louise, the quote, "I'm tired of the girls throwing themselves on the floor." That's that. Tara, what are you thinking?
I think it's going to be a fun opener. I think they're, I don't know. For me, Liar is like, it's the Eurovision's like Tate McRae kind of moment. where you're going to get a beautiful girl with pretty good vocals and pretty good dance moves. Like, it's going to be entertaining for sure. Like, it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea, but I feel like it's a very like Eurovision classic fun opener. So I'm looking forward to it, but if it's going to qualify or not, that's up in the air. I don't think it's a guarantee. I would like to see it qualify, but I don't know.
We do have a big Cypriot diaspora in the UK, so I can see that helping it a bit with the televote. I am still kind of on 50-50 about whether it will qualify, but I think it does have a diaspora, so we always have to consider that, as much as I don't like to. But there is a very big Cypriot diaspora in the UK, so yeah.
And she's from Australia, isn't she?
She's from Australia.
Yeah, so yeah. She's got that. But I will tell you, Terry, you thought about like the direct competition. I wonder about the slickness of the UK and Sweden, and how, and we'll think about the direct competition of like, of course, Sylvester, Ollie, you know, even Marcus and Martinez, like sort of that pop perfection. But I do wonder how that pop perfection, you know, from the boys, and how that could affect the girls that we have. That's one thing I wonder. But let's move on. Then we've got Serbia and Lithuania kind of following up. What are y'all's just thoughts on like Serbia in the second slot?
They got done dirty. They got done dirty. Like, they've been what, third, and then second. I don't think anyone was predicting this. Like, I think she might be okay because she has very impeccable vocals, and the staging. Serbia's great at staging, so I think she could make it. But I think she got done dirty. She did not have to go there. I think there are several. I actually predicted Ukraine to go in the second slot because it's a slower song, and I think it can qualify from any position. So I thought that, but they didn't. So that would have been my ideal second slot. It would have been Ukraine.
There's something in me that says Serbia's a lock.
I think it is a lock. Like, I wouldn't have put it in the second slot, but like I think it'll be fine, you know. But do I think it was optimal for the show? No. I don't think so.
I think that song could have nicely broken up the later part of that half, you know, between like Croatia, Ireland, you know, break up the louder songs, the noisier tracks. Bit of a spoiler for anyone who listens to our podcast, but Connor and I had a bit of a disagreement about this. He sees Serbia as more in trouble, and I sort of have this conspiracy that with Serbia in the second position and Lithuania in the third, very strong qualification records, is it just a little bit of a, well, they're going to pick up votes anyway, so let's give them more of that disadvantage over an Ireland or a Poland or Croatia who have had more checkered qualification records in recent years. But I just think Serbia is different enough and quality enough wherever it goes in that half. I'd be very surprised actually to see her not making it out.
Yeah, I think Serbia is going to qualify. I really do. I don't know if the running order is really going to affect it too much. I think our opener is very like young and poppy, right? So then coming in next after that, you know, Serbia has more of a mature, sophisticated, but still super current and relevant sound. And I think that's going to be evident no matter where you place it. And I think it's going to get the votes. I don't think Serbia's a grower. Serbia's a song that when you first hear it, you're like, damn, that's good. That's a good song. And that doesn't matter where it lands. I think that's going to be how people view it.
So yeah. Go on.
I was going to say, if anything, I think Serbia is more of a lock than Cyprus. Because I'm thinking about last year in semi-final 2, we had Denmark opening, and then we had Armenia in the deaf slot, and it's kind of similar vibes where it's like a pop song and then a slower song. And Armenia qualified pretty safely, I'd like to say. I don't think they were borderline. I think they qualified pretty safely. So I think thinking about that, I think if anything, it could make Cyprus more in trouble than we think. I think Serbia does have, I'm not 100%, but I think it has a better chance than Cyprus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I think we've already kind of touched on Lithuania. I mean, we're all in agreement Lithuania is making it through.
Yeah.
So let's just move on. I will say I didn't like Louise, I might have to be out here in these streets fighting for Ireland. Like literally fisticuffs, okay? Because to me, to put like Bambi in between these very slick, radio friendly, potential productions, to me felt shady. It just felt shady. I think it is a completely non-optimal position for Bambi, but here's the benefit. No matter where Bambi comes, you're not going to forget the performance. Like, you're not going to forget it. There's no way that you can really bury this song. I think you can make it suffer a little bit, which is what I feel like they did.
EBU,
but,
we're looking at you.
Just saying. Suffering. But yeah, so how are we kind of feeling about Ireland and this transition into Ukraine?
One thing Connor and I are very hopeful of is we think there might be an ad break after Ireland, which, if that's the case, thank goodness, because I would rather not run us from Sylvester into Ollie. If possible. I think having Ollie open after an ad break is lovely. People will be looking forward to seeing him. When it comes to Bambi, we were really worried we'd get 2 or 3. So at least we're not there, because we're also a country that's just small in population, small in diaspora. We never have a leg up when it comes to televote. We never do. Now, that being said, televote's not impossible for us, because if you look back at Ryan O'Shaughnessy in 2018, he actually did better in the televote than with the jury. And a lot of people would say that Together was more of a jury song. But he just staged it well enough to get points from the televote. So there is a world where we can do it. It's just all dependent on how the staging comes together. And I don't know a huge amount, but I know a little bit, and I trust Bambi. And I think what's going to make this pop on the television is camera angles. It's going to be all dependent on how SVT help us out with those camera angles. It needs to be sharp. It needs to be exciting. The lighting really comes into play too. I think we know that Bambi can do it and has tons of expression, and they're an amazing performer. So I'm not 100% convinced, just because the pessimistic side of me with all of these bad results is making me into more of a realist. But I think if there's a year we could slide in, it's this year. So guys, please cross everything for our Bambi.
All right. Okay, so then we have Ukraine, who we're all in agreement. Ukraine is making it.
Oh, it's a lock. It's a lock.
We're all there, because there are pockets of the Eurovision fandom that are worried for you. I'm telling you, I have been in the spaces. Okay, when I say that, I mean the X spaces. I've been in the spaces. People are worried. We're all good though. We're not worried.
Not at all.
Okay, so on that note, let's just move on. Let's dig in. Let's dig into Poland, because I'm telling you, this week I got nervous, and it was it came to me, and this is how it came to me, y'all. And y'all know I'm slightly psychic, not in a funny, I have dreamed babies, I have dreamed accidents. It's real for people in my orbit. I had a dream that the reports, so you know how we don't get to see the first rehearsals? We're not even really seeing the second rehearsals. They're just opening up the press room, week of, once they're running the show. I had a dream that there was a leak from the second rehearsals that apparently the rehearsals just were bad. And I, in the dream, I was doing a live stream or something like this. And I was this is the crap part about us not seeing it, is because we're hearing these reports and I don't want to tell you that that's what's happening, because I don't really know. I don't really know if it was bad. But then we do see that run of the show on the Monday. And it was oh oh, so it is bad. And it was like missed camera angles, awkward choreography. I'm telling you, I had this whole dream. This is a dream, maybe a nightmare for some. And the only thing I said that was good about it was I was like, well, great, now we get Ireland. And so that was it. But I don't know. I started getting nervous for it. And I think it's because I've just sort of always had it qualifying. And I actually think, in contrast to Baby, this one I actually think is a good studio cut. I listened to this song. It's not a skip for me. So yeah, what do y'all think about Poland? And my nightmare.
You say that because I read that the person doing the staging did Embers in 2021. Yeah. So interesting. So people are talking about having a massive, like, giant moon, like, coming from the sea.
Put her at the top of a tower and just have like loads of
Like a
hair
literal
extensions
tower.
coming down. Rapunzel.
She can perform live. I've seen the videos, and people do like the song. People think it's cute, but is cute enough? She does have the diaspora to help, but it's not a lock. And I think staging can really make or break this. And hearing what I've heard with who's doing it, I'm scared.
Okay, so let's look. Like, it's between Ukraine and Croatia. Very impactful songs in very different ways. Very impactful songs. The Tower to me is zero impact. The Tower to me is a bathroom break. It's a skip. It's a okay, what's next? It's not a song I've been able to. And I've tried. I've kept it on my playlist. I've tried to like see in it what other people see in it. I just can't get down with it. I don't really care for it. And when you're putting it between two impactful songs, I just feel like it's really going to get lost. And I don't see it qualifying. It could. I mean, I don't think it's like a major like guarantee to not qualify. But for me, I could see it not qualifying, and I wouldn't be shocked whatsoever.
Well, I'll tell you, if it didn't qualify, I wouldn't be shocked. Because I do think there's a lot of impeccable executors in semifinal 1. And I think that's the thing, that's the contrast of semifinal 2 is, even though you might say, like, because I feel like I have some of my songs that I love in semifinal 2. But when I look at people who tend to execute well at Eurovision, a lot of them are in semifinal 1. And Poland, I would say, has not been super consistent with the execution. They've taken some risks that have ended up as misses. So up next, we got Croatia. And there's a lot of talk about, first of all, well, there's a lot of talk about Croatia, and I think there is this very, and I'm just going to name it, there is this very aggressive hateration bus train after Croatia this year that I find strange. And I'm not going to lie, I think I know what country the fans are coming from. I think I can sense where they're coming from. But I don't get it. The song is fun. People are expecting vocals. And I'm like, what challenging notes are we expecting for him to hit? You
like
know
he's
what I
gonna
mean?
hit some runs. Like, come on. Like, what?
For most of it.
Yeah, I listened to the studio cut of it. It's on my ESC Faves playlist. And I've seen the live performance and people are like, oh, his vocal's just so awful. Is it that you don't like, just say you don't like rock music then.
Exactly.
Like,
he's got the grit, you know, that's all you need. And he's got so much of it.
Yeah, so yeah, thoughts on Croatia. I mean, Croatia is qualifying. We can all agree, right?
1000%.
And I mean, I can't it come second in the televote in this semi, if not first? Question. That's a question mark.
It's not out of the realm of possibility.
I have no idea who's going to win the televote. I think I'm more certain with semi 2. I honestly, I think it's going to be very tight. I think he could win. I think he's in a very optimal position in the running order, and it's very enjoyable. And it's not reminiscent, but I think, you know, it's got the catchiness that maybe Cha 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 had, and people will be like, oh, like we want, like, people just love the fast paced, like, you know, silliness, but like executed well. But yeah, I don't understand the hate. And also, his vocals have really improved like a lot, and his confidence has improved a lot. And I think he's a really great performer. And I think the people who don't like that are just saying it for the sake of it. Like, and yeah, I agree. They just don't like rock. I think it is a really good song. I don't personally. I know this might be a bit early in the conversation, but I don't see the winner potential in it personally. But I can see it getting top 5. I don't have that inkling of it, but I wouldn't be surprised if it topped the televote, but I don't think it would top it by much, because I think this semi is really unpredictable for me.
Okay.
I agree with.
Oh yeah, Louise.
Sorry, I agree with elements of what all of you have said, and the mention of it being rock. Like, this is one of those I've gone on a journey with. Kind of similar to Mama Shut last year, funnily enough, with Croatia. And I couldn't stand Mama Shut. And then by the time I was in Liverpool, I was doing the shoo. It's nearly like this kind of like cult following a song can gather. And like, look, when it comes to rock music, not everybody's into it. But like, We Will Rock You by Queen, everybody likes that song and can sing it because it's very accessible. The boom, boom, that kind of thing. Cha 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 had that. Rim Tim Taggy Dim has that. I see an arena like jumping up and down, hands in the air, even if you've never heard the song before. It's very quick, it's very accessible to get. So I think this is a guaranteed top 3.
Yes, top 3.
I agree with Faith. We don't know what way the votes will split. Like, Ukraine's always strong there, Lithuania's always strong there. So we'll see.
Okay, so then we have one of our, folks in the middle. Germany then pops out. And then goes away. And then we get to Slovenia. And I know, Tara, you said this was one of your favorite songs. I mean, are you feeling confident for Slovenia in the semi?
I mean, if you look at where they've placed her, like, I feel like she's gonna outshine.
Oh, sorry, y'all. I forgot Iceland. We talked about Iceland, though, earlier. That's why I kind of was like, I don't want to be redundant. I think we all think it's not going to make it.
Right.
I mean, does anyone think... Well, I don't know. Louise, I feel like if anyone could make a case for it, you could. Okay, so here's your 20 seconds. Make the case for why we should have Iceland advance.
We should have Iceland advance if we get a time machine and we go back in time and we go back to Songvakeppnin and we erase that whole mess that Songvakeppnin was. If we had a different song, I'd be having a different conversation with you. And Hera Bjork is a legend, and I have nothing against Hera, but that song is not it. And they had a way better song in the super final, which they should have chosen, but they did not. So Iceland, I am very sorry. I think it's another year of relegation.
All right, and so let's move along to Slovenia. Tara, you can continue talking about Slovenia.
I mean, not much else to say. I think they're positioned well between two songs that we really don't think are going to qualify, right? So, like, it could stand out in that way. I think it's genre bending. Like, I don't think you can necessarily place it in one specific genre. I feel like it's just really interesting. It's got edge to it, but I don't know. For me, I just connected with it from the second I heard it. From the second that music video popped up in my subscription playlist and I watched it on YouTube, I'm like, oh, that's a front runner for me. And it stayed that way. It's personal for me. Personally, I love the track. I do.
Okay. And I have to say, no. I think Finland is making it. Do I need it in my final? For me, like the Alicia Michelle song contest? No, I don't. But I appreciate the performance. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I will say Slovenia is a country too. I think I've always been nervous about them, but I'm nervous about it because I think somebody tweeted very early on about Georgia, like kind of comparing it to Georgia last year. To me, what took down Georgia last year was the awful sound mixing of our technical team. And then I would say a little bit of the novice of Iru to not know how to correct it herself. Raven is a seasoned performer, so I don't think that she could be taken down from that. but I do wonder if people might like, I've even had a vision where I'm like, people like the Tim Burton of Bambi, but then Raven going full dark mysticism, it like, then they're like, no. I don't, so it just, but everyone knows I get paranoid about songs that I like. So yeah, what are y'all thinking, Louise and Faith?
I'm sorry, I don't like Slovenia. Yeah, I'm like one of those people you've just talked about. I'm like, I'm all there for Bambi, but I'm not for Raven. I'm so sorry. And Raven like has been on the periphery of Eurovision for so long, and I was rooting for you. We were all rooting for you. This song just isn't it for me. If they go all in on the mermaid vibes, I'm here for it. Slovenia, the country of water, take us there. I want to be at Lake Bled. I want it to be mystical. This just passes me by, I'm afraid. Hopefully Faith can mop up for me.
I really like it. I think as time has gone by and we've got more songs, I'm listening to it less and less, but her live vocal is impeccable. I know like juries aren't voting, but I think people can appreciate a very good vocal, and there isn't really a song that sounds like it in the semi. And I saw a photo, like a rehearsal photo. She's got the dancers, in like kind of nude underwear, like she's keeping the dancers, and I think she can put on a very good show. I don't think it will be in the top 5 of qualifying. I think it would be in the bottom 5, but I would say pretty confidently I think it can qualify, just because it is so different from everything else, and she's got an amazing voice.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep a candle lit for Raven. I do think the execution will be done well, personally. So I think it will be easily worthy of qualification. But I get worried for the locals. That's what I'm worried about, really, is the locals getting it. Okay, and then let's move on to Finland. We're all clear. Finland's making it, right? Do we think Finland could win the semi? I want to know that. Yeah. Do you think Finland could win the semi? Okay, Faith, we're kicking off with you.
This is my hot take, and people don't believe me. I think it could win the semi because me and my friends have been showing our friends, like my friends' boyfriends they've been showing their boyfriends. So we think that like showing a boyfriend is like the equivalent of showing a local. Every time we show a local, they love Finland. Like they love it. I think as Euro fans, I think people are just being a bit, I mean, obviously, people can have their opinions, but I think people are underestimating how much this will hit with the locals. Like they love it. It's crazy. So I think I would not be surprised if it won the semi. I think people need to live in that world that it could, because I know people call it a joke entry. One of my friends said this, actually. People call it a joke entry, but my friend said when they have that denim egg that hatches out, they are being 100% serious. Like that is not a joke. They are like they are taking themselves really seriously. But it's so insane, and I know people switch off from it. I think people will love it and people will vote for it. So as much as people will hate it, I think the people who love it will vote for it, and that's why I think it could win the semi.
Oof, Finland is definitely represents like the zany side of Eurovision that we get every year. It's not the side I show up for. It's not the side I would vote for personally, but I it's gonna do well. It is gonna do well.
Yeah, I probably agree with Faith. I think we're looking at a potential top 3. It's like a battle of Croatia, Ukraine, Lithuania could be in the mix, depending. But I think Finland's going to be right up there. I don't know. It's funny, I'm kind of starting to buy in. Like it's just a bit silly. We need a bit of silliness sometimes, Don't take yourself too seriously. I think locals in particular will back this probably more than fans think. So it's one to watch for.
Definitely one to watch. And let's move on to Moldova. What are y'all thinking about Moldova? Is it making it?
DOA.
I don't really think about Moldova.
Exactly.
I just don't think about it. It's just kind of there. Like, I mean, they can put on a really good show. Like Moldova, it's strange. They're just one of those countries that can just really pull it out of the bag. But the song isn't hitting. You know, last year's song, very fun, like very different. This one, I think, after Finland as well, I don't think it's qualifying. Not at all.
Mm-mm. Yeah. Moldova, it's just, as a studio track for me, nah. Like, I don't want to listen to that. Now, but I've seen the clips of the, you know, the performance on stage, and I could see it's a bit more engaging. It's got the ethnic vibes. You know, they pulled out the instruments. Like, there's elements to like a really good show. But I don't think it's going to qualify.
It's a stack semi. I knew I was gonna lose songs I loved. I'm working on making it through. Okay, Azerbaijan. Do we think? Okay, do we think it's making it? I think we talked about y'all think it's y'all don't think that there's any case for it to make it.
I think there's a case.
Okay.
Because I think they are hit or miss with staging. And I think he probably has very good live vocals. I mean, he kind of sang it live in the video. But I just don't know if it's enough. I think especially in this semi, people do love like a kind of more foreign ballad kind of song, but I don't think it's enough. But I might be wrong. I wouldn't be completely shocked if it qualified, but I'm leaning towards it's not, just because the semi is stacked, and this competition is stacked in general. I think semi 2 is also really stacked. So I can't see it qualifying, but I wouldn't be shocked if it did.
I agree.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I agree. Like the one saving grace that I can appreciate is the language, and that diversity that we're getting from Azerbaijan. And I admire at least that they're trying something different here. But I just think it's very hard to come back after Marcus and Martinez will have that home crowd really behind them. There will be a big swell with Marcus and Martinez. People will be calming down as Azerbaijan goes out, and then you're followed up by like what will come to the like funky fun of Australia, which will pick people back up again. So it's not an optimal spot for Azerbaijan, I'm afraid.
Definitely not an optimal spot. I will say though, and maybe I'm in the small camp of people who feel this way. I love this song. It's just cool. It's smooth. We get to hear Azerbaijani. Like, I personally I've enjoyed it since the first time I've heard it. And for me, it's in my top half, like for overall. Like, I actually really genuinely enjoy this song. But sandwiched between, I wouldn't be shocked if it didn't qualify. I'm hoping it does personally, but I know it's really low in the odds, and I just don't see it happening. But I'm there's people out there who like it, me included.
All right. Okay. So, I mean, it's just a stack semi. We know we're going to lose good songs. All right. And then moving on, we're coming out of, really Sweden, then Azerbaijan, and then we're coming to Australia. We said some words on Australia earlier, Louise and I. And so now I'm kind of curious. Tara, what are you thinking about Australia?
So Australia, don't love it. Sorry. I know, breaking a lot of hearts here. I don't really like Australia, but I think so many people do, that I do see it qualifying. Maybe they could use this for like a, lip sync, like on like Drag Race Down Under eventually. Like, I think it'd be so cool to see on that. I love Drag Race Down Under. But like, for me, this is just not a sound that I gravitate toward. It's just not something I'm bumping in my car.
But the atoms are awake. Spill the tea on reality on the 0.618. What you gonna do in the real world, Tara? What you gonna do when you see? Okay, sorry, y'all. All right.
But imagine drag queens lip syncing to that. Epic. Imagine.
What do you mean? It just happened. Me? No. Okay. Faith.
It's a grower for me. It's a real grower. I liked it when I heard it. I think it just wasn't up there for me, just because we'd already had so many good songs by that point that I just wasn't. But as time has gone on, I really enjoy it. I think the crowd will join in, like Milk Alley, and they're excellent live. Australia are very good at staging, very good. And I think people like to root for Australia anyway. The fact that we've got you know, some other language elements, you know, like native elements, I think people will really appreciate that. I think it's going to qualify. I can't see it not. I'm struggling to see it not qualify, just because I think people are underestimating it because we kind of don't really have much of a visual. We just have the music video, but it's very catchy. And especially the last minute is like really impactful. I think it's coming after, you know, Moldova and Azerbaijan, and I think it will really stand out. I think it's optimal. I think the producers have done a really good job putting it there in the running order. I don't think they could have gotten a better running order. But I think they could have gone last, actually. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. I think I can see it qualifying. It's catchy. It's going to be staged well. It's going to be sung well. I like it. Yeah.
I'm just gonna make my play. This year at Eurovision, we need that in the final. We need this. We don't really have any other like real anthemic songs. And if somebody wants to throw out Iceland in my face, like, it's derivative. Okay, I've said it. It is derivative. Now we transition and kind of slow it down to a burst, I would say, with Portugal. And I know we touched on Portugal a little bit before, because we were kind of talking about, you know, who we would maybe want to give a life raft to. But I want to kick off with you, Lou. Portugal. You know, if you had to give it qualification percentage, what would you give it?
Oh, maths is not my forte, Alicia. I'm more of a Europop girly. I would give it, I'd say it's looking kind of 50-50, 40-60. More leaning towards the non-qualification. But I think, as we all mentioned earlier, like, it would be a shame to leave Portugal behind. And actually, I don't really listen to the song. It's not really my cup of tea. But I can still really appreciate it for the quality and for what it is. And look, Portugal are just always going to Portugal. As you alluded to earlier, Alicia, like, if Portugal non-qualified, they're just going to go back to the drawing board, same as always, Festival de Canção. Nothing is really going to change. They're going to send what they like, and that's it. And I respect that about Portugal, and I respect this entry. That's the number one word that comes to mind for me. Not really my cup of tea, but I respect it, and I think it's different enough and will be enticing enough to an audience that it should be in the final. It really should. Portugal should be rewarded for the way that they approach Eurovision.
Tara, are you listening to Portugal in the car?
You know what? I am. But this is my gripe. This is my gripe with Portugal. It peaks too late. When she has that note, that epic note, and there's only like 20 seconds left of the song after that note, it just comes too late. It's like building. And then we finally get there, and then the song's over. I don't like the flow of the song. I like the song. I typically like Portuguese entries. I love the Portuguese language. Saudade is one of my favorite entries probably of all time. This one, I don't see it qualifying, and I'd be okay if it didn't, because really, what is it going to add to the final show? Like, what is it going to bring to the final show? There's other songs that would bring more. So I'd be okay with it not.
That isn't it. Because y'all know I love the song. I'm listening to both songs. I do think maybe I listen to Ramonda more than Grito. And I would say maybe, and that's kind of unfair, because y'all know I was listening to the Pesma za Eurovision playlist, and sometimes I just go back to that. So just to be fair. But I think it's interesting, this point of what would a song bring to the final? And I think I'm living in that world when I think of Australia. Like, Australia, I'm like, no, we need that song. Like, we need something like that kind of in the final. And I don't always bring that up. So I just want to thank you for putting that spark in my brain. Okay, Faith, are you bumping Grito in the car?
Yeah, I am, actually. I have like a playlist of songs I like, and it's on them. And it's funny because I'm not usually a massive Portugal stan. Like, I can appreciate what they do, and I love that they send quality and they just send what they like. So I'm not usually like a big Portugal fan, but this year I am. I'm not usually like a female ballad girly, but I really like this. I don't know what it is. It just itches something in the back of my brain. It's very beautiful. Like I just love I think I love the chorus. I am just a little bit worried about this qualification. Like I love it. And obviously it's just me with my opinion, but I like the fact that I think because I really respond to it, and I'm not someone that usually responds to this kind of song, I'm hoping that other people will be the same. I think their running order is helpful as well. I'd say I'm 50-50 on it qualifying. But I want it to, but I'm just trying to be realistic. But I'm trying to think with Sodade, like I'm wondering what the split was with the juries and the televote. Because that's the kind of last thing that we can compare it to that's kind of similar vibes, like a female ballad. But that actually ended up doing really well in the final, even with a bad running order. So that's what's given me hope, is that if Sodade can do it, I think Grito can do it as well.
The one flag I will give with Sodade is people knew who Mato was. Like that, I do think was a slight advantage and edge that I think for Eurovision folks, they, like I have regular friends, like when I went to Mato's show in DC, there were like regular people, like, like from the DC scene that like, and they're like, what are you doing here? I'm like, what are you doing here? Like, I'm like, this is Eurovision. No. But I've listened to Mato's music outside. But then we're closing the show and we will shut down this stream, and go out with the bang. That is, hold. Sorry, I wanted to do that. I will never let you down. Fighter. What are y'all feeling about Luxembourg? Is it a lock? I think according to the betting odds, they're saying it's a lock. Let's do a round robin. We're going to do Tara, then we're going to do Louise, and then we're going to come to you, Faith. Maybe let's go around, say if we think it's making it. Tara, do you think it's making it?
Yes, it's an earworm.
Okay. Louise, you think it's making it?
Yes, but I personally don't want it to.
Okay. Faith.
I agree with Louise. It's not my thing, but I think it will.
Yeah, I'm in slight agreement. Do I need to have this in my final? I surely do not. But the executive producer in me wants it in the final. So then at the final, and after all these years, they're back. The executive producer in me is like, yeah, go on and let them go to the final. The Alicia Song Contest, though, would not need this sonic exploration in the final because I'm already going to get this better with Italy. So, yeah, let's break it down. Tara, what are your thoughts on Luxembourg?
Well, do we think it's like direct competition with Cyprus? Like, do we think those are like the two pop girlies that are battling it out? Okay, and so if we're putting Cyprus up against Luxembourg, for me, it's Cyprus all day long. But I don't dislike Luxembourg's entry. I know all the words to it. It's still on my playlist. I think she just sings it interestingly. I don't know, just like the way she sings it is interesting. But it's a generic pop girly song. I don't hate it. I don't love it. It could qualify or not qualify. I could see what it would bring to the final show. But I'd rather see Cyprus bring that.
Yeah, if we're talking about Cyprus versus Luxembourg, I probably prefer the Cypriot song also. As it stands, I see Luxembourg maybe executing it better on the stage, just based off hints we've had for Cyprus. Obviously, that remains to be seen. There's just something in the melody of Luxembourg's song, and I can't I flip between, is it like nostalgic, kind of like 90s, like Christina Aguilera, like, da, 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 or am I finding it a bit juvenile? I'm kind of flipping between the two, and I find it a little bit grating on my ear. I just can't really get behind the package. I really enjoyed the Luxembourg national selection, and I'm really glad to see Luxembourg back. I don't know if I would have chosen this out of their selection, even though it was an amazing show. It wasn't the strongest set of songs I've ever seen. But yeah, I just would like Luxembourg to have come back with something a little bit different, something that was going to surprise us. But I have to agree with you, Alicia. I don't see a world where, EBU execs don't want this to make it in and be a storyline of the contest.
I agree. I it's not my thing. And I think it could qualify also on the basis that, oh, Luxembourg have come back, isn't it exciting? And, you know, but in terms of the package, and I had this conversation with my friends as well, and I don't usually think about styling. I don't like the way they styled her in the national final. It doesn't suit her. Like this kind of, and same with the music video, like kind of like goth emo, like it doesn't suit her. And she's a very pretty girl, and I think they should style it a lot differently. Like I know they want to be like fighter and like, you know, like dark and like strong, but I think I don't know. I think they missed the mark with the styling.
I get what they're going for with the styling, because here's the thing. She's not a pop girly for real. I mean, if you listen to like the music that she had before, she's not. So we kind of have to go a little bit extra with the styling, because, you know, she's not a dancer. And when I say she's not really a pop girly, she don't dance. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, and if you listen to her back catalog, she's really more like kind of indie, you know, vibe music, like that's really more her thing.
With like this guitar,
like this is a little different. So I think they're pushing the image. But I kind of want to ask y'all a thing, because I saw a comment that was saying, like, I think we'll get both Cyprus and Luxembourg. And I'm gonna tell you right now, if we get Cyprus and Luxembourg, there's no way we're getting Serbia and Portugal. No, I don't think that's gonna happen. Somebody is like someone's gonna fall. And I mean, and let's not forget, then we're definitely not gonna get Cyprus, Poland, and Luxembourg. That's not gonna happen. Mm-mm. So I don't know. And but I will counter one thing, or give a I actually prefer, and I don't really like either, like of the tracks between Cyprus and Luxembourg, both the tracks are giving Disney Channel for me. Right. You know, Disney Channel, you know, Hilary Duff, this is the girl who's in a TV show and now she gets to sing, or something like that. Both of the tracks are giving me that. I think Celia will execute, like, herself will execute well, because I think she will be able to sing and dance live. I think she has proven that that's like gonna happen. But studio cut wise, I actually do prefer Luxembourg's song, but I could be biased because I speak a bit of French. So maybe I just like, I'm used to that, but I do prefer Luxembourg's track studio cut wise to Liar for me. What do y'all think of my combo? Yeah, like my combos of like, if we get, like, I just don't know if we'll get all of those. Because also I think the dudes are really shining in the mix. So I don't know.
I think we're more likely to get Serbia and Portugal than Cyprus and Luxembourg, in my opinion. And I think the thing that will do it is I think Luxembourg will qualify over Cyprus. But in my opinion, but you're right. Luxembourg kind of gives me Hannah Montana, the Disney Channel thing. I agree. This semi is so difficult to predict. Like, I mean, I know they usually are, but it's kind of exciting, but I'm also scared because it's a really strong semi. There's a lot of songs I like, and normally in previous years, I'm pretty okay with who qualifies. Especially last year, I agreed with it. This year, I think could really ruffle some feathers. I think it's very unpredictable. Yeah, I'm excited but scared.
So between Luxembourg and Cyprus,
and you might as well throw Poland in the mix too, because we're not going to get all. There's no way we get all three of those. No,
I mean, I
don't think.
It's easy for me to knock Poland out just because I just don't personally care for it. I just feel like, yeah, you're so right with it, comparing it to like a Disney Channel or Nickelodeon star who's kind of aged out of their show. Now they're moving on to be in the music industry, and this is what they're presenting to the world. I just feel like Cyprus, maybe it's because I'm American and Tate McRae is so she's a huge emerging act right now. Tate McRae is kind of everywhere. She's at every award show. She's on all the late night shows, and our Cyprus singer Celia, she looks like Tate McRae. she dances like Tate McRae. She's got the body, the hair, like she's a Tate McRae girly. She doesn't sound like Tate McRae, but I just feel like, for me personally, I have that recognition, like, oh, she's like Tate McRae, I like her, I'm gonna vote for her. I don't have that with Poland or with Luxembourg. So yeah, my vote would go to Cyprus out of the three.
I'm dying at that recent comment, someone saying it's not Disney Channel, it's low-key Nickelodeon. That's very good. Of those 5 mentioned, I think Serbia and Luxembourg are the most straightforward qualifiers. Portugal's flip-flopping, and then I worry for Poland and Cyprus.
I agree. I think out of the 5, I think Poland's the most in trouble. It just,
yeah,
I feel like all the other songs kind of give something, or they have an advantage. You know, like Luxembourg is a new country, is performing last. Cyprus, she's a very strong singer and dancer, because I've seen lives of her. Serbia and Portugal, we know they can perform well. So I think Poland is the one that I think it has the most against it, and I think it's the most in trouble out of those 5.
All right, y'all. Well, we're ending on a cliffhanger, but we will be back to talk all things semifinal 2 at the end of this month. I just want to say thank you to all of you for joining me today. You know, right before London Eurovision party, it's going down. Again, if you are planning to go to Malmö or Copenhagen, I've got some events happening, so you definitely want to check those out. I'm like making a commercial for this so I could like run the footage of it. But I will also say, inspired by all of you today, I gotta make a Ladies' Choice theme song. I gotta work on that. I've got 2 weeks. I've got to do it. But thank y'all so much for joining. I'm going to put everyone's info in the description. Make sure you are following these people and getting their takes on the Eurovision Song Contest, because 2024 is a strong year. It's a strong year. And we got to break down. We got to break down the stuff. So thank you all for joining. Bye.